Okay, guys, welcome back to All Nerd Everything. And I just did a double feature over the weekend of two horror films, Presence and Wolfman. I can't wait to talk about Presence because I have a lot to say about that. But let's dive into Wolfman. Now, this is a film under Blumhouse Productions, and I'm not the biggest fan of Blumhouse, especially considering how a lot of their films are PG-13 just to get a wider audience to go see their films. And I think that's a bad way to go about it, especially if your film is very well, let's just say their acting the acting in their films isn't the best, and they squander a lot of the great concepts that they have. The ideas for their films are there, they just don't know how to execute them. So going into this, I knew what I was getting into, and I find it kind of hilarious that a lot of people are trashing this film, considering that, like, yeah, it's Blumhouse. I knew what I was getting myself into. Now, not all of Blumhouse's garbage. However, most of their films are very, very questionable and very unrewatchable. But Wolfman, I feel like a lot of movies, horror movies like that do the vampire and the werewolf concept, I feel like they work a lot better as period pieces because we get the best acting and we get the best, production pieces, costume designs, and also it just looks great on screen as a period piece. And I think I just love the idea of vampires and werewolves in a period piece where there's pretty much no way you can find out if a lot of these creatures are real, and seeing characters interact with said creatures in a time period where it's a lot of hearsay, and if you do run into one of them, you're pretty much dead. I like that idea, which is why I think a lot of those horror tropes work better as a period piece, just like Nosferatu. They did that excellent, and that was one of my favorite films of 2024. But with Wolfman, now this stars Christopher Abbott as Blake and Julia Gardner as Charlotte. Now, when I initially saw this trailer, I thought it was very odd that they were playing a married couple because Julia Gardner looks like she can be his daughter, which I could not unsee that until I saw the film. And even then, I was like, they should have casted either a younger actor for Julia Gardner to play alongside with, or casted an older actress for Christopher Abbott's character. But Christopher Abbott, he plays Blake, and he had a rough childhood with his father, kind of treating him like a soldier as opposed to a child, and grew up pretty much in, I don't want to say in isolation, but he didn't turn out the way that he wanted to based on his father's upbringing of him when he was younger. And when Blake finds out that his father passes away, him, Blake, Charlotte, who is played by Julie Gardner, and their daughter Ginger go up to the cabins to pack up all of his father's belongings and say one last goodbye to the house. And they're also having marital problems, but we don't really, I mean, it's not expanded on enough. And while the pacing to this movie is great, I feel like the saving grace for this movie that prevents me from hating it is Julia Garner. She is excellent. But the the ultimate problem with this film is that I never felt the this is the family and this is the werewolf. I never felt the family was in danger of the werewolf. It should never be like this in terms of, in terms of horror tropes like that. You should always make the audience feel like they need to be on they need to be on their toes, and I never felt like I needed like a breather at all, because in the end I knew that they were going to be okay. And Charlotte, and while Julia Gardner killed it in this role, and I did enjoy the transformation into the wolf. There could have been so much more done with that they didn't do, and there was probably only one or two instances where I felt like their daughter's life was in danger. But if you don't make me feel like, if I'm watching a horror movie and you make me feel like the characters are safe all the time, then I kind of don't. I mean, there's no risk, essentially. There's no risk to the characters. There's no risk to the the story at all, and I find it kind of disappointing that they never made us feel at all like the family's life was in danger, aside from the father's, after he gets scratched by the werewolf. And there was a couple of things that were in the trailer that they took out, which I was just like, what is this? Is this a Sony movie? I mean, what the hell? But ultimately, I think this film is just, it's just, man, it's just the middle of the road. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. The only thing, like I said, I don't hate this film, and that's mainly because of Julia Gardner, and I love Julia Gardner. But with that being said, I'm gonna give Wolfman 2.5 stars. I can't even say I was disappointed with this film because, like I said, I knew what I was getting into. But yeah, they could have definitely made the audience feel more at risk, like the characters. And I, I felt like Charlotte was the only one whose life was possibly at risk, and that's unfortunate. But with that being said, guys, let me know what you guys think of this film. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Where's this gonna be towards the end of your movie list, of your 2025 list this year? But let me know you guys' opinion. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next review.